Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Live Feature Review. It is no longer Live Feature Rant by name, but in all other ways, it is more or less the same, though changing things up a little bit. So, yeah, you might be wondering, hey, what's up with the Nogafen hat? Where weren't you wearing it when we started the show? So, actually, nostalgia time. Today, we're going to be actually looking at just all sorts of stuff going back through the history of the game, not the game, excuse me, the history of the company. Sony Online Entertainment, 15 years. It was pretty awesome, and I'm honestly really happy to see this new direction going with the company now. It is Daybreak Game Company, and it's totally cool. Amneris, I could do that, and it might sound decent with this microphone, but I would rather do it proper. Drive down to San Diego, have Andre and the crew queue up the equipment, get all the sound and stuff set up, and give a real nice proper one right in front of the signs, right in front of the new logos and branding and stuff. And if it's not up yet, that's fine. Once it's up, I will totally make the trip. I love making visits down to SOE or the Daybreak Game Studio office, the former SOE office. Um, it's still going to seem very much like SOE to me. The buildings still look the same. Um, the people are still the same. I know there's going to be all sorts of logos and stuff on the inside of the building everywhere on all the posters and everything. That's not going to get changed out. The outside's going to look a little different. Maybe some of the paperwork and stuff is going to be a little different. For the most part, I'm excited to see, the same people doing the same stuff, but in a bit of a different way. So, and anyway, cheers, everybody. Very awesome. This is exciting new times for the company and exciting new times for all the games. Ernest, you should probably be a moderator. There we go. So, nostalgia time. A little bit of this was touched on yesterday in Dead Feature Rant. And, whoops. Just that. Pull that over a little bit. There we go. Don't pay any attention behind the man behind the curtain. So, going way back, Tanaris. I played that. I played that when I was pretty young, actually. When it came around, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I liked the idea of something that was just tank combat. I had seen a lot of games that were, battling in various other ways, but just tank v tank. This was, way before World of Tanks, and of course there wasn't any emphasis on photorealism. Everything was polygons. Everything was, very simple designs. Looked great. All of that stuff actually more or less transferred over into PlanetSide 1. So that's kind of where my story picks up a little bit. After Tanaris, I played infantry for a little while. It was something I could play on the high school computers. It was a high school at the college, actually, so it was college computers technically. Well, whatever. The point is, it was it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was a nice little kind of break from the education stuff and just getting some blasting in. Really enjoyed it. Didn't really get that serious with either game though. I played them and I played them for a bit, but I had a lot of games to play. And when it came to PC stuff, my papa usually was taking it over with one or another of the Might and Magic series, whether it was the first person, like the numbered ones, or it was one of the heroes. He played the hell out of those heroes games. So I would I wouldn't really get to play as much on the PC, so I didn't really get to play as much of it as I necessarily would have been to also sharing it with my brother at the time. Would have also cut into my time. Of course, when he was playing, kind of sit back and team coach play and whatever. But going after that, going back from Tanaris into PlanetSide, and I'm going to take a little break after that to kind of take a step back. PlanetSide was, for me, the right game at the right time. I met up with the right people. I joined it because basically I was looking for something to play. I had bought Windows XP, and in 2003 they gave everybody who had Windows XP access to a free copy of PlanetSide the original. So I really enjoyed playing it, and there were a lot of things that were a little familiar to me, but I didn't realize why until making the connection later. Oh, the Magrider, the Vanguard, the Prowler, those were all tanks in Daenerys. And it was later revealed to me that, yeah, PlanetSide was essentially going to be the sequel to Daenerys, and then they decided, you know what? Let's go a different direction with it. I really appreciate it. I made a lot of friends with that. I still play with my buddies, the Raging Primates. I joined up with them within a couple of days of starting the game, and haven't left since. Just absolutely love the group. So, it's gonna be a lot of ranting for me. Folks in chat, by all means, your experiences with SOE, any questions that you have, please do share. I would really like to hear from everybody here. And while we're at it, I'm going to start up that raffle. So, that step back that I was talking about is Star Wars Galaxies. And you folks know I take a drink for Star Wars Galaxies. It was definitely a really fun game to play in the time that it was available. And I gotta say, it was just... I liked a lot of it, but I think ultimately I didn't play it when it went live is because I still wasn't quite sold on subscriptions for things, especially because I was working just murderous, insane hours. I didn't really have time for a subscription-based game anyway. So that was not such a big deal, really. But what I got out of it was two things. I got the crafting system, and I got the resource system, which is basically very much tied to the crafting system. So the crafting system, the ability to kind of push stats in different ways and apply things and, you know, make it really happen, make it really work, was one of the things that I like. You could make some amazing stuff if you really fine-tuned your character. But if you didn't fine-tune your character, you're just making, you know, ho-hum whatever. Yeah, you've made the item, but it's not going to be necessarily, you know, even close to equivalent quality of the same item made by somebody who's really specialized at it. And, you know, there are a lot of aspects to it that it was not just because it had that system to it, but also because it tied in with the resource system. That resource system is the best resource system I have ever seen in any game ever. It was a bold way of doing things. Instead of having gold, iron, wood, all the, you know, basic things, and there'd be maybe different tiers that you'd have to get to, and then later, further down in the difficulty, you'd find titanium and, you know, other sorts of magical materials. Not in the case of Star Wars Galaxies, I guess, but they went a completely different direction. It was basically, we're going to be generating new materials constantly. If none of the materials you have fit for that perfect weapon you're trying to make, try to trade with people who have got some legacy materials, or hold out and wait for more materials to become available that you might be able to find something that fits the bill. Maybe the piece that you need requires a metal that's really malleable and highly conductive. So if you can't trade for a few units of one from somebody else, you just have to wait and get some for your own somewhere. That experimentation factor made it such an amazing system. And it really meant that, yeah, you could take any old crap material and turn it into something awesome. Or, you know, if you really take the time and effort with it, you can make something that is, the absolute best. You know, you can make a crap item with crap stuff. It's functional, or you can make an amazing thing with you know, really high specialization. Daniel the Jack, how important do you think community really is? That's an interesting question, and I'd love to have you give me a little bit more specifics on it because community is a huge deal. I wouldn't say, anything less. Community is one of those things. If you don't have a community, all you have is consumers, and you can't just rely on consumers alone to keep a product going. You really need people that are invested in it, that are, advocating for the products, that are, really, really engaged in them. So community is definitely important. But what thing about community in particular are you talking about? Because I mean, it's a pretty big deal either way. All right, Sean DC02 Twitch 111. Welcome, welcome. As far as trading in the economy goes, oh, it's huge. I mean, for one thing, if there isn't really any sense of community and people don't really want to trade with each other, all the market transactions are going to be just done on the auction house, and that's boring. That's so boring. Um, I guess if that's the route that the company is going with the game, then yeah, it's fine if it doesn't have that much of a community, just so long as people are making transactions happen. I don't know, for example, if there was a huge trading community in Diablo 3, but I'm sure the auction house community was just big and huge. Um, so, yeah, so I've got a little bit more to say on Star Wars Galaxies, mostly just the ambitiousness of the material system. I've never seen it done in any game since. The only one that's come close, and they specifically are close because they modeled their crafting system after Star Wars Galaxies, is a 2D sandbox called Edge of Space. Yeah, the auction house was super active, but it did also break the game. Absolutely, broke the game in more ways than one. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't they eventually abandon the cash auction house system because it caused too much trouble for them? Because I could see there being, chargeback issues, currency issues for different regions, and all sorts of stuff that potentially make that auction house just a pain to begin with. So, Daenerys, infantry, Star Wars Galaxies, PlanetSide 1. You folks might be saying, wait a minute, there's a big old gap there. Isn't there a certain game, of which you are wearing a promotional shirt for that you should also be mentioning? And yeah, I actually didn't play EverQuest. Aside from, not having regular access to the computer, we already did the game with basically subscriptions, and I wasn't really at the point at the time where I could afford subscriptions, so it was up to the parents. Now, it was kind of a funny thing. My brother and I played Ultima Online for a fleeting 6 months from when it came out to maybe about December. We played it. We enjoyed it. It was fun. It was an interesting game. But you know what? We couldn't really justify there being a reason to keep playing it. Sure, you can keep on trying to build up your loot. Sure, you can keep on running with your guild and trying to build them up. And yeah, there was some stuff you could do in the world that was cool. Sometimes there'd be some world events. It was mostly a sandbox, though. We had no idea what a sandbox MMO meant at the time. It's only now that I actually understand because, enough of them exist that we can say, oh, yeah, oh, hey, that's kind of what Ultima Online was trying to do. So, we couldn't really justify to our parents a reason why to have them keep paying for a game that has no end and that has horizontal progression where the main goal was to build up a place in the world that somebody could eventually raid or try to take down. So they stopped paying for it and we stopped playing it. And that pretty much ended subscription-based games for me until PlanetSide. Technically, I could have bought and paid for Star Wars Galaxies, but Nah, just didn't end up working out. I was working illegal overtime hours at QA THQ at the time, 2003. So I didn't even have the time. We were literally like 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Mondays through Fridays and 10 to 7 weekends. So there was no possibility that I had whatsoever of really being able to, play and enjoy a subscription-based game in full to the maximum. That's fine. By the way, if everybody's wondering why I keep grabbing a drink here when we mention Star Wars Galaxies, that's actually something that started up when Adam was on the show. Now, Adam has been, fortunately, rather busy these days. He was on the show for a while, had a lot to say about a lot of stuff. Then his computer started kind of breaking down a little bit. Um, And then, he just ended up being in a situation where it's like, I gotta go somewhere and get a job or things are getting a lot worse. So he's been working pretty hard. And I'm really glad that things are working out for him. But unfortunately, it's not able to get on the show here regularly anymore. I'd love to have him back on at some point. But it's, yeah. So if anybody's wondering the history between or behind taking a shot when Star Wars Galaxies is mentioned, or taking a drink at least. That's it. He played a lot of Star Wars Galaxies, and that was a game that he referred to constantly. That was his basically big MMO, his big SOE game that he played for quite a long time. And it really influenced a lot of his decisions and a lot of what he had to say about the game. So um, it came up so much that it just became a drinking game. All right, so we got a couple of questions here. Do you think the advent of free to play with cash shops versus says something about the idea of governments and taxes? You might need to phrase that a little bit better. Um, I'm not quite 100% sure what you're saying. I would say part of the free to play model is kind of I want to say almost like Vegas dynamics. Get people in the door, let them spend their money. You go to Vegas, sure, the hotel might cost unless you're, a good enough poker player that you just get comped for your rooms. Um, and there would be definitely things where you would get comped. It didn't matter if you broke even, came out ahead, came out behind, just so long as you were playing on the tables, you would get comped for it. And beyond that, every single parking structure in Las Vegas on the strip, there's no restrictions. You just drive in and park, leave your car there. People don't even mind. Like, unless you probably leave your car there for a few months and never access it, maybe they might get a little suspicious. But it's you just park there. They want you there. They want your business. They're not going to try to charge you $5 to park to go spend money. Hell, if anything, if there was going to be a casino that had a charge for parking, I would imagine they would give you credits for tokens. Like, you spend $5 on parking, you get 10 free credits for tokens, or for chips, and then you go hit the tables and tokens. And sometimes you get a royal flush on Pai Gow and pay for your holiday trip, like Higby did one time, and sometimes you don't. Like I understand Felgon did last year at SOE Live. Yeah, Bad Viking, no co-host today. I haven't done a solo one in a while, and to be perfectly honest, I've been so busy with work. I just didn't get an opportunity to rally up all the stuff that I wanted to do. But I do have a bunch of stuff here that I definitely want to get into here. Hitting the nostalgia factor from a different angle after I kind of finished telling my story of SOE. So, I had understood about something called Fanfare a while back, but Fanfare, I figured it was just an EverQuest thing, and didn't really look into that much. It wasn't really until PlanetSide 2 that I started, looking into SOE again. Before that, though, I do definitely want to touch on Vanguard. Vanguard Saga of Heroes. I have the box for it over here. I could actually bring it over if you folks want. I've done a previous episodes, you know what it looks like. It's the box that's about this big that says SOE on it, not the one from Variant. One nervous Viking with the purchase. Oh, don't you be worrying about it too much. Um, we'll definitely talk about that. Don't you worry. So, anyway, getting back to why is it not yeah. So Vanguard Saga of Heroes. I played it basically. I think I played it a little bit in beta and then got it when it went live and played a little bit after. But unfortunately, the player base, I didn't really find many meaningful connections with people. So unfortunately, I didn't really stick with it for that long. There were so many systems that I liked about it. The combat system, it was all right. It wasn't bad. It was definitely, innovation on things that had previously existed. Um, but beyond that, I liked the material system, just the intelligence of the material system, using nice GNEISS as a material. That's awesome to me. That's you're getting into things that most games it's just a hard progression of this material, then this material, then this material. You know what's stronger than what. But for grades of stone, I really liked the way they did it, and there were a lot of things beyond that that I really liked about it. The crafting system is actually something that I would really like to see in Landmark and EverQuest Next, something very similar to it. Basically, it's a bit of a mini game. You put in the component, you work through it in different ways, problems will come up, how you resolve the problems and move forward. There wasn't really too much like getting kicked in the face by RNG. It would happen maybe a little bit, but it was mostly, an indicator that your character just wasn't skilled enough if you had constant failures with something. But even having failures, if you crafted something that was kind of above your level, you would still get some decent credit for it. But it was actually the mini game, and I had a dark elf, so I really enjoyed the crafting system specifically because the grunts and groans that they made, the and various sounds like when they had problems in the crafting process, etc. It was really funny to me. I'm sure the other races had them too, but the dark elf by far was the most funny because they seemed very viscerally disgusted by their own work that they were doing on the tables there. Oh, jeez. So much fun with that. I really liked so many parts of the system. I liked how it was so modular. I liked the invention system. If you were the first person to make a staff with strength on it that nobody had made before, you got credit for it. Now, no caster is going to use a staff with strength. They'd rather use something that actually makes them more powerful, unless there's some sort of weird close combat caster, but I don't really think that's how it worked with staff users. So you could be the first person to invent something that's totally useless and be, world first or server first for it. To me, that was hilarious. There were a few innovations that legendary neurotoxin managed to come up with. I really appreciated that. There was just a lot of that, and honestly, my idea for what a new like a modern crafting system really should be is taking some of Vanguard and taking the materials from Star Wars Galaxies and mashing it together into a much more advanced, complicated, intricate system where it was easy to make the items that you needed to make, but it takes a lot of time and effort and specificity to make truly top-notch items. And of course, they'd still be classified as the same item. Longbow is a longbow, but my longbow that I made with two twigs and a piece of sinew isn't going to be anything compared to a mastercraft longbow that's been made with multiple different parts and pieces of laminated wood for extra tension and strength, and instead of just some chunk of sinew, some strand of sinew for the string, getting some really really nice material, maybe even some sort of a magical construct as the bowstring for it. That's the sort of stuff I'd love to see. And then further enhancements and embellishments on top of that. Totem and H1Z1 Jane, welcome, welcome. Oh man, so much nostalgia. Let me give you folks a reminder here. Whoops. We are going to be giving away 2,500 station cash card to one of you lucky folks. And I was going to put a limit on it that there's got to be at least 50 people in the channel. But screw it. Don't even worry about that. So, after Vanguard, there is maybe a little bit of a gap for me. I played EverQuest 2 for a moment. Right when I finished playing World of Warcraft, there was a special offer that was given out to anybody who bought Vanguard that you get EverQuest 2 and all of the expansions up to that point for free, just for having bought Vanguard. I don't know if it was being expressed as an apology or if it was like, well, you might have liked this game, but we kind of see the writing on the wall for where it's going, so we really want you to play the game that we're really invested in. Yeah, you got it, Sean. Don't worry about it. So that was the part that I thought was really interesting. So I installed it, and I jumped in, and I played for maybe as many as 8 hours. And then I realized I just played this. It wasn't as photorealistic. Different world, different characters, different lore. But I just finished playing an open world MMO, theme park sort of experience, and I don't know if I'm ready to jump in another. So I didn't end up playing EverQuest 2. If it was free to play, that would have been an easy decision, but the industry wasn't ready to go free to play at that point. Daniel the Jack, kind of touching on what you were saying earlier, yeah. There was definitely some impact from the economy. There was actually a question earlier that I didn't answer from you, Stoneglade, and I definitely wanted to address that, so I'll just bring it on down here. Did SOE look for a buyer, or was Daybreak looking to buy? No, SOE is Daybreak Games LLC. Yeah, I think you kind of missed on that one. So Daybreak isn't a company that acquired SOE. SOE became Daybreak when they were purchased by Columbus Nova. So it's not that the company was bought out and is under the umbrella of somebody else, other than Sony Corporation is out and Columbus Nova is in. But in terms of a buyer, I don't think that was on the hands of SOE. I don't believe that was John Smedley's decision. I believe that was done by and through the Sony Corporation. I'm sure John Smedley was definitely in discussions with it, and they definitely didn't want to sign off for SOE to join an investment firm that really was just going to gut the games. That would not have been good. We wouldn't have been happy with that, and you wouldn't have been happy with that. Nobody would have been happy with that, except maybe them, some sort of investment company that's just a chop shop. But that's not the case. What we have is not a chop shop. What we have with Daybreak is now a company that really holds on to its assets and really, does stuff with them. They own all sorts of various things involving networking, databases, security, music, a little bit with games, if I'm not mistaken, too. So, CN is actually going to be a really interesting sort of thing for Daybreak to be getting into. It's it's such an interesting situation because there's a lot of reasons to it, honestly. I guess the main things that I want to kind of touch on, though, and I touched on them a little bit yesterday, is there's potentially a lot more resources that can be allocated to the company that wasn't there before. Wargath, Ace Rail, Spliff Killer, thank you all very much. Welcome, welcome. All raids are appreciated. Very nice seeing you. Thank you very much. It is good seeing you. And we have a raffle going, so definitely do get in on that. All right. And I'm sure I'm going to ramble a lot more about the switch to Daybreak on Friday for Theory Forge. So definitely be tuned in for that. That is going to be on this channel. But anyway, kind of getting back to the my history and my background with Sony Online Entertainment. So after Vanguard, after the little jump with EverQuest 2, SOE kind of fell off the radar for me for a little bit. And then I was at E3, and I met Brass, and I met Matt Higbee, and I kept asking about, trying to pry for information about PlanetSide 2. And they said something is on the way. It wasn't PlanetSide 2 at that time. I believe it was still being called PlanetSide Next. It might not have even been PlanetSide 2 at that point that I talked to them. But that was the first time I got a chance to, really talk about the subject, and I got real excited. Come E3 the next year, PlanetSide 2. Now, it wasn't released yet. I actually got a chance, because it's E3 and you can just basically film anything that's out on the show floor. I actually filmed and leaked a lot of stuff that was never even put in the game. There were some weapons that were never put in the game that I got screenshots from. They didn't have the functionality linked up for them either, so it was just some concepts they had, cluster bombs for the aircraft, for example. I was so happy. I was just like, hell yeah, I have been waiting for this game forever. I had been saying for years, you put the Skyguard on a lightning tank, and I am a happy man. No, it wasn't a bad thing. Actually, Bad Viking, they were really happy about it. Matt Higbee was like, oh yeah, dude, that's totally awesome. I'm really glad you did that. Because they couldn't do it. It was up to, fans. It was up to media to do something like that. So, it was really awesome. Nicolin, Kadvari, Pirate Oil, Primary Ebb, thank you all for coming. Welcome, welcome. So, PlanetSide 2. That was the first game that I gave a yell for. PlanetSide 2. PlanetSide 2 is also the game that I got the most swag for, by leaps and bounds. So, you'll see back there a whole lot of it. There's the PlanetSide 2 poster. I've got both PC Gamers signed by the team. I've got the foam finger from the Empire Showdown event that Total Biscuit and Adrian Curry hosted. It's signed by T-Ray, now at Boss Key Games, Maggie, Luperza, who is now at Curse, and Level Cap, who managed to replace, and I was so happy that it happened, managed to replace Tobuscus, because that guy was so annoying. He didn't play PlanetSide anyway. See some other stuff over there. There's the Higbee head. I also got that at the Empire Showdown. It's signed on his forehead, and I know it was a promotional thing, but to be perfectly honest, everybody who sees it says, it's got this weird, Charles Manson vibe, because it's got his name signed on the forehead, and he's got this crazy look to him. So some of the other stuff, you'll see some of the PlanetSide 2 beta key flyers on the wall next to all that stuff. Yeah. Tug that back over there. Yeah, VS totally won the ground battle, not the BS popularity business. I mean, Future Crew and a bunch of other VS faction or outfits have just been doing amazing work. So, I'm going to kind of run through some hats here. Star Wars Galaxies. So I should have probably been wearing this one earlier. Yeah, GOTR was there. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hmm. So I didn't actually get that hat until later. It was actually Denicia gave me that with a box of SOE swag a while back. I think it was at SOE Live 2012. Super cool. She was such an awesome person to have in the community, and definitely somebody to be following. Right now, she's organizing OrcaCon, which is a board games convention that's going to be hosted. I can't remember where, but definitely be on the lookout. It's January 2016. OrcaCon, not OrcCon. OrcaCon. It's got a whale. So, PlanetSide 2. I actually didn't get this hat until the SOE block party before SOE Live. So you folks get to see me wearing a variety of hats today. So, PlanetSide 2. I loved the hell out of the idea of it. And I keep on playing it here and there. I was actually just playing it over the weekend with my buddies, the Raging Primates. Once again, they are the outfit that I go back the longest with. They're actually the longest group that I've been with for any game ever. So, absolutely love those guys. PlanetSide 2. So, PlanetSide 2, it got me interested. And then I was like, well, wait a minute. I'm at SOE Live 2013. This was a year after. PlanetSide 2 is looking pretty good. But I'm interested in seeing what this EverQuest Next thing is. So I went and saw the EverQuest Next presentation. I didn't know what I was expecting. I didn't know if anybody knew what they were going to be about to see. Oh, SOE hat. It says Make Believe on it. And that specific one in 2013 was just amazing. That was the one that really got me super engaged in really all of the rest of SOE's upcoming stuff. That was even before H1Z1, and when H1Z1 started being mentioned, it's like, oh hell yes, because at that point I was finally like truly invested in SOE and really seeing what the company was going to do, and being certain at that point that yeah, every time there's going to be an SOE Live that I can make it to, I'm going to make it to. We're not going to have one this year because it's not SOE anymore, and Daybreak is thus far it's not announced a specific official event. However, we are on Facebook working on organizing an event. Neverett and Brass and a bunch of other people and Roshan are working on that. So definitely look into that if you ever wanted to go to an SOE Live and are disappointed that you can't. We're going to be doing our own meetup, and maybe this year, definitely, hopefully definitely next year. It'll be an official thing that they do, but we'll see. It was so much fun last year, but going back to 2013, EverQuest Next. I didn't know what I was expecting. I was blown away. It's like holy crap! There's no way you guys are gonna do this. And then it's like, well, actually, maybe there is a way they can do it. I can see some of the technologies they're using. Minecraft has been around long enough that a finer resolution version definitely is possible. And that was after having seen the landmark part and seeing, oh, voxels. Oh, okay, I get it a little bit more. But when we saw the landmark part, that was the part that was really like, oh my god, I want to work on that. Just shut up and take my resume. There wasn't a position for me at the time, of course, but man, I was blown away by that. And then when the Trailblazers first became available, when you could spend $100 and get all the fully featured early access for EverQuest Next Landmark, my goodness, $100 day one. Didn't even think about it. Probably didn't even have the the reasonable assets to actually do that sort of thing, but I did it anyway. I haven't regretted it. It's been a lot of fun. 2013 is also where I actually did get the Nagafen hat. The Burt's Bees guy. Nice. They haven't done it yet. You know, you're right, Michael Flatley, but they've done enough to convince me that it's possible. It is very, very possible. Oh, so much fun. I met so many people at SOE Live 2013. It was a blast. That was, I believe, when I got this shirt here. I was thinking of, swapping out shirts or whatever, but I realized that's going to show a lot of belly. That's not going to interest people. So I'm actually going to kind of hit up some of the shirts here now that I've gotten through all the hats. Raging Primates. Whoops. It's not showing very well there. I walked up wearing this, kind of camera bombed the VS lineup at the Empire event, the Empire Showdown. I was actually scheduled to be on the team, but I didn't get an email or anything, so I didn't know I was supposed to be there all day. I worked my whole day at work, and then took off early to head to the Empire Showdown, thinking there's just you jump in and play, not knowing that there was rehearsals and everything. So I got a wristband to get up to the front there because I was on the roster, and Dexella, she wasn't gonna ask questions. The way she phrased it is, man, the last time I saw this guy, he gave me a box of beer. He's legit. So I got the wristband, and when they finished lining, going through the lineup of the VS people, I came in from the side wearing the Raging Primate shirt, giving some good yells and everything, and just just trying to hype things up, even though I totally wasn't going to be on stage. And yeah, that was funny. Of course, regulation VS shirt. Either I got that at the PlanetSide 2 open house event, or I got it at SOE Live 2012 in a box of swag. Definitely one or the other. Love my VS shirts. And of course, this one that I've never really worn, it basically more the material for like a jersey rather than a normal sort of shirt. But it's pretty awesome. It's a Vanu, kind of almost looks like the Infiltrator armor a little bit. I also got, at some point, these car stickers, and I've still got one on my car. I should probably put some on some more of the windows. The decals, or they're not decals, they're just window clings. This one's actually due for Kuramash. It's been like a year now. I just never sent it to the guy. I totally said I was going to. So I got to do it at some point. Kuramash Kamarist. So, some of the other stuff, kind of talking about the SOE Lives. SOE Live 2013 also had these badges that had the little player panel speaker thing. So I've been a panelist every SOE Live up to this point. It's been a lot of fun. The PS2 Command Center episodes. I can't remember if I got... Oh, yeah! I did get... It was something that Higby had been holding on to for me for a year. I'll pull that up in just a moment. So... The evil Terrans. They weren't so evil until the new conglomerate started getting evil. The new conglomerate. Truly the villains of PlanetSide 1 and 2. Even more so PlanetSide 2. They are totally the villain. There is nothing about freedom that goes in their backstory. They are just cold-hearted, thuggish corporations. My Purple People, the Vanu Sovereignty. And from China, the pewter dog tags that were being given out. You can see that's in Chinese. PlanetSide 2. It's totally awesome. Matt Higby gave a couple of those, one for me and one for my brother, though technically the one for my brother is just kind of a backup for me. It's pretty awesome, though. I love having those. And then on top of that, there's a couple other things I kind of wanted to talk about. So we got these nice little lanyards. There were a lot of different lanyards we got from the various different events. This one specifically a EverQuest lanyard for your badge for 2013. This one is the 14-year anniversary EverQuest for, once again, SOE Live 2013. Now, this one actually got gosh, the marketing guy, the guy in charge of the station cash stuff. His name escapes me right now, and that's so bad. Is that Jeez, I'm gonna look it up real quick. But essentially, he grabbed the lanyard, brought it with him to SOE Live, thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna show off my SOE Live pride from last year," not realizing that he actually brought the E3 Nintendo lanyard because it had a lot of blue on it. No, not Mark Tuttle. Player Studio, rather. Yeah, I'm gonna look him up real quick. Don't you worry. Yes, Rick Reynolds. That's the guy. For some reason, I kept going Ryan Reynolds, and it's like, no, that's not right. Rick Reynolds. Storn. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. That's the guy. So he was admitting this to us. You know, we were a couple drinks in at the Heart Bar, and then I look at the lanyard around his neck. It's like, is that from E3? From the Nintendo booth? Nah, hat's right here, Dorkish. I'm actually gonna pop on H1Z1 beanie because this is what I was wearing at Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. That dude's so awesome. So at 2014, I was wearing this pretty much everywhere. I was wearing the H1Z1 stuff because it was, some cool new swag to be wearing, even though I was mostly going to the Landmark and EverQuest Next panels. So it sent kind of a mixed message to people. Whatever. So yeah, he when I spotted this, he realized, oh crap! I totally grabbed the wrong lanyard for this. That was pretty funny. So swag, so much. So 2014, we got this mask, you see, or this one. So these were H1Z1 promotional zombie masks, and a lot of people were wearing them for not really a lot of people wearing. A couple people wore them for the zombie parties, but I think a lot more people brought them back home and probably put them up somewhere or gave them to their kids or whatever it may be. Having my beanie like this, does it look like I have giant Rasta dreads? So, here's like a decent part of my wardrobe that's just SOE shirts. I already showed 3 of them, the PlanetSide ones. We got H1Z1. I wear this for all the talk shows for H1Z1 and really not any other time. SOE Live 2014. I was wearing this one yesterday on Dead Feature Rant. Hot quick at a party. Absolutely right, Remio. Those things, they don't have enough ventilation to to cover for that sort of thing. SOE corporate shirt. I actually walked up at one of the events wearing this shirt, went to go get my wristband stuff signed, and they're like, "Oh, you don't have to worry about this. You work here." And I looked at it, was like, "Oh, I wish I did, but no, I don't. You got to give me one of those." So they gave me the NDA or whatever, but I totally could have just walked right on up. I tried to actually wear this shirt and be all sneaky at the E3 2013 booth, but the moment I walked up, T-Ray spotted me and waves like, cover's been blown. Whatever. T-Ray's awesome. I miss having him on the PlanetSide 2 team, but I'm really glad for his kind of move and stuff and being able to get a little mobility and be happy with it. Oh, Amris, I'm sure Twitch will be able to do it for you. I'm sure they're respectful of, companies changing their name and stuff. So, this one right here, you all know what this is. I usually wear this. Yeah, my roll for stealth did fail. You're absolutely right. I think the problem is I didn't even roll. Amris, I would recommend you do the new account first, because somebody in chat might already be in the process of trying to grab it. So you can get the PlanetSide 2 shirts with this fancy little, name tag on the back. It's totally cool. This is from SOE Live 2012. And, excuse me. I love the design on it. Unfortunately, it's, really, really hot. It's basically like having a vinyl sticker on your back. I'm sure Da Vinci knows exactly what I'm talking about since he's got, mad experience with costume design. It's basically a standard fabric shirt with this, like, rubbery iron-on sort of sticker. It's uncomfortable to wear. It feels like there's a piece of rubber stuck to my back. So I never really wore it that much. Another one of the same, just without the legendary neurotoxin. I believe that was the one my brother got, and he just gave it to me. DBG. Okay, here's the thing, though. If you go DGC, then you're too close to GDC. Now, you could do a play on words, DGC, GDC. It's not a play on words, but it's, just the repetition factor. This was from 2013, by the way. Undershirts. Yeah, undershirts. I'm in Southern California. It's hot as hell. There's no way I'm going to be wearing undershirts as it is. As it is, sitting in my room right now, I'm feeling like stripping down buck naked and opening the window. So the show normally is scheduled for an hour. We can go over. There's nothing really stopping me, but that was one of the changes to live feature review. Is, it works. 1 hour and then we can go longer. So we used to get these awesome bags. This was the bag from SOE Live 2013. I really like it. It's nice, sturdy material. Unfortunately, the handle started to kind of crack and some of the material started wearing. But I think that's the amount of weight and stress that I put on the bag carrying it for so long. Let's see. Do one last one of these. Texas, it's hotter, but you sweat on the end. Cools you. Oh, okay. I don't know. I haven't really messed around with that sort of stuff much. SOE Live 2012 was actually a cloth bag that I really liked quite a bit. SOE Live 2014, it was a paper bag. But the advantage to the paper bag is that I could put stickers on it. So I got stickers here from Tenma, who is currently live over on Cody's show right now, if I'm not mistaken. Or I don't know if it's Cody's show or if it's their group show or whatever. Daddy-O, who he's been on. He was actually on yesterday for Dead Feature Rant. Vonu Reach Cat. It's Vonu because it's got the purple necktie rather than the blue one or the red one. And the performer who I think she got second place for the contest last year, Lilith Astaroth. That's her band, apparently. So, I put some stickers on there. I would have one for Sog. He unfortunately forgot his stickers. And all of these stickers, they're all made by Labels2 is his name. If you ever see him around, I haven't seen him in a little while. He makes these professional stickers. It's totally awesome. He just is like, I could donate to channels, it'd help you guys out a little bit, or I could make, specialized stickers that it'll cost me like maybe less than $50 in resources and effort, and it's basically like a $500 to $1,000 quality print job. So I'm not a dummy. I said hell yes. Said Station Cash would be fine. It would just go through a rebranding. Yeah, I'm sure it will. Instead of Station Cash, it's going to be Sunrise Cash. Right? Daybreak, sunrise. Doesn't that make sense? Amnerous, if you're taking notes, make sure you give credit for me on that one. Ah, all right. All right. Yeah, Da Vinci, there might be something else that I might be looking for. The project I currently work on actually has some very similar aesthetics to the upcoming character design, so I might be hitting you up anyway about that. But no, I won't be rocking the Vonu Tech Commander suit this time. Amnerous, thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate having you come through here and help promote the show. Totally awesome, and good luck with with the name change. I guess grab up all the names that you think might be the ones that you're gonna go with, and then once everything's finalized, you can just say, "Hey, Twitch, do the thing for me." So yeah. All right. So let's do a little bit of Q&A here. And while we do that, let's see who the winner is. Oh, and I'm going to switch to the I'm just going to put it over my current hat. So there's a H1Z1 hat. That was one of the other things from from 2014. Roundtable vote. All right, North Korean currency. No, dorkish. I don't believe they're going to be doing that. I mean, I could really go Hatception and then if Hatception is really the route you folks are going, we can do this. I used to not really be a hat person. I don't really wear hats in public, but when I'm doing the talk shows, I'm gonna promote. Hell yeah. Pirate Oil. Pirate Oil, the lucky builder. Congratulations. So, I'm about ready to wrap it up. If anybody has any last questions, please do throw them out there. I would love to talk about them. Love to cover them here. Zombie Nagafen. You got it. Zombie Nagafen. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh, and Stoneglade, I figured out. I don't know how it got. Yeah, I'll just tell you later. But yeah, you're good. I'll hand you after the show here, buddy. Are you looking forward? What am I looking forward to in either EverQuest Next or Landmark? What I'm looking forward to in Landmark is more creation tools, more things that give us the ability to make whatever we want to make, covering all sorts of different genres, covering all sorts of different functionalities and methods and styles and formats of gameplay. The ability to, make mini games, like not just, what we have right now, but like a voxel match 3 would be lovely. I would totally make something like that. That stuff is fun. Turkish. And then as for EverQuest Next, what I'm really, 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 really excited for is for everybody's expectations to be completely shattered. Everything people thought that they knew about EverQuest Next to be just like, setting the game so short of what it actually is that when we actually get a chance to play it, it's like, we never knew. Georgeson, you're a genius. Jeff Butler, you're a genius. Everybody, just listing off everybody on the team in order of rank and saying how much they're a genius, because I'm really hoping that is what EverQuest Next is the game that's just so amazing that, it's unbelievable. It's truly unbelievable that it happened. PlanetSide 3 landmark combo. I would love to see PlanetSide. Honestly, give me before the conflict, PlanetSide. Give me PlanetSide 2 before the actual warring started, or maybe that wouldn't make sense because that's still on ships at that point. Give me PlanetSide 2 after. No, that's PlanetSide 1. PlanetSide 1's actually a sequel to PlanetSide 2. I guess it would be after PlanetSide 1, after the battle frame robotics have finally been decommissioned, after the orbital station has no longer, been used to fire lasers for a long, long time. Give me that world. Give me the relative peace of Vanu sovereignty and what it became, New Conglomerate and what it became, Terran Republic and what it became, Nanite Systems and the Black Ops program and what became of that, and go from there. I would love to have that for Landmark Oil. That would be fantastic. Jane, Daybreak, I hope it's just a stand-in. They break is one thing people said, they break, man. They break, daybreak. Just having break for the name of a game or company is never good anyway, because people are going to constantly poke at the fact that break is in the name whenever anything's not working. And, some people are doing it in good fun, and some people are doing it to be genuinely jerks. So, yeah, the break part. That's definitely, that's Day Broke. Yeah, Dave. That's another one. Um, Try Planets 3. Giant Stay Puft Marshmallow Man rules the world. Oh no. I want the giant Stay Puft Man to, I want that in Landmark, actually. That's one of the things I'm sure somebody will make. And then they'll rig various different objects, not actually musical things, but various different things to play out the Ghostbusters theme in a odd and mechanical sounding way as it walks along. That would that would be pretty sweet. I would definitely help contribute to that project. Name could be worse. Yeah. I wonder if it's one of those things where they were offered 20 names and it's like, okay, that one's fine for now. Um, yeah, I'm not too worried about it. The name has nothing to do with the quality of the games being made. Name's just a name. It's just a label. Don't get too caught up on names and labels. It's the products. That's what you need to be focused on. It's easy to say that, but then actually, getting people to do that is kind of tough. Well, actually, it'd be a large scale sort of thing, Dorkish. I don't actually think it'd be that difficult. It'd be a lot of use of the smoothing tool, I'm sure. Moodatitional. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome, welcome. We're getting fairly close to the wrap up time here. Of course, if anybody has any more questions, throw them out there and we will address them. Otherwise, maybe about 5-10 more minutes before we wrap up and find somewhere to bring this party. Because I need to get me some dinner before going live with my next show. Dayforge. I mean, they could have just called it, Forge Light Industries. In fact, Forge Light Industries would be a badass name for the company. Right? Like, what do you folks think about that? Forge Light Industries? Just something using Forge. Forge Light's the engine they're moving forward with. Why not promote it? Why not, do something to enhance that it's part of the company going forward? Because it is. It is their proprietary engine. Forge Light Industries. It sounds great for H1Z1 too. Forge Light Industries sounds like a place that you can go to get some real gnarly stuff crafted, like some very specialized machinery there. Yeah, that's a good idea. We should probably tweet them about that. So, yeah, nostalgia. So were there any games that I didn't talk? Oh, there was a game that I didn't talk about. There's one game that I didn't talk about, and that's DCUO. Now, I jumped in and played DCUO with my brother for a little bit. We got to level 30. We got through some of the progression a bit, but two people doing stuff. Isn't ForgeWorks the name of the some of the player studio stuff? Maybe I'm mistaken about that. ForgeWorks would be great. Forge Light Studios. Forge Light Entertainment. I think Forge Light is definitely the way to go, and I don't think they should worry anything at all about confusing the name of the engine with the name of the company. Because whenever we're talking about Forge Light Engine, we call it Forge Light Engine. We're talking about the company. It's Forge Light Studios. Yeah. All right. All right. All right. All right. What if they make a game in the future that doesn't feature the Forge Light engine? That I don't see really being a thing. They'll be doing third-party projects. They'll be publishing stuff. Probably they might actually be leveraged as a North America publisher, like they had been doing for a while, but kind of dropped off for a little bit. They've dropped off a lot of their properties. I think Dragon's Prophet and DCUO are actually the only non-SOE properties that they actually own and deal with right now. But that's definitely something that could change. But they seem pretty fixed on the Forge Light engine for everything. Forge Light for single player could very well be possible. Now that we've got the AI features in with H1Z1, it could actually be used for a very reasonable system. Or once we get the Storybrick system working, using that, or at least elements of it, for a standalone single player game, that would be nuts. That would be amazing. It's just be absolutely fantastic. So anyway, getting back to DCUO, it's good. It's fun. There's a lot of good stuff to it. It's just we didn't know that playing villains meant you're gonna have 5 to 10% of the player population as the heroes. So villains, you couldn't really do group content unless you were in a guild, and we didn't really care to join a guild. So we were doing a lot of solo content. The mission that we got really good at, it was the I can't remember the name of it. We were taking down the Brother Eye satellite, the downed satellite that Batman put up and that then got corrupted with a virus. That mission is super fun. It's super challenging. And when I tell people that's the mission we were really good at and we played a lot of people groan. They're like, ugh, how could you do that? That thing was brutal. It's like, no, actually, that thing was super fun because that was, of all of the missions, the one that required the most coordination. You would basically, there are parts of it where you would have to split two mobs because they would constantly shield each other back and forth, and the only way you could take them and any of the other mobs down was separating them and then picking them apart one by one. So that alone, and then the actual the boss battle itself, that was also pretty nuts. That it reminded me of the third boss in Phantasy Star Online, which was like this giant mechanical thing that fired things in different phases and had some different elements to it. Really, really fun. Let's have been the old Heroes MMO. Sounds like the Twin Amps and WoW's AQ40. Yeah, maybe a little bit. I remember AQ40. I was elemental fifth tank as a shaman in that. But let's not get into that. Do you think they will ever see the WW2 MMO now? Do you think that's put on the back burner? Actually, we were talking about this yesterday. The idea that they're trying to do almost more of a 1 year iteration, a 1 year cycle with their games that start to early access, or even maybe not that, but early access to launch, doing a 1 year sort of thing. If that's the case, H1Z1 is going to be ready. It's going to be probably live January of next year, if that's definitely their goal, which means they'll already have all of the groundwork laid out to start Sturm und Drang, which was the name of their World War II simulator. I can't remember this, some author or poet that comes from. But yeah, that's Sturm und Drang. That's the one. It was mentioned ever so briefly at SOE Live 2014, and I've been picking at it for information ever since. The most information I've gotten has been from Steve George, the Shock Dev, who's one of the producers on H1Z1. RTS EQ game, that would be pretty awesome. EQ Tactics. RTS or a turn-based tile strat, I would play those. There's a lot of stuff I could see them really expanding. I actually hope, though, that instead of keeping it to one genre or one specific thing, that they actually mix things up a little bit. If they make a card game, bring in all of their games, bring in all of their products, include PlanetSide 2, include all the races, all of the factions of all of their games, and have them all be different. So that way, when you're building a deck, you're not building a deck of just one faction. You're building up with 2 or 3 factions to get their strengths and their synergies, and being able to turn that into a really powerful fighting force. Decks or armies, or if it's a tactics game, I could see some PlanetSide versus EverQuest going on. That would be awesome. Fantasy versus magic. Wait, no, fantasy versus technology. Magic versus science. Birds. All right. Wait 6 hours. Katavari? Yeah. But yeah, Stoneglade, I'm sure they're going to do it. I'm sure they want to do it. H1Z1 is technically more of a tech test for that game. So that should be pretty exciting. And it should be really interesting seeing the World War II sim community, the World War II game enthusiast community, really having a place to come to and do some awesome stuff. Yes, fireballs versus laser. Well, we kind of also have fireballs in PlanetSide, but you know what I mean. So I think I'm about finished talking here. I don't see too many more questions coming through. I'll give it a moment though. But we'll probably be wrapping up and moving on. I'll be cutting a highlight of this and putting it up. Not every episode of Live Feature Review is going to be solo. In fact, most of them aren't going to be solo. It just so happens that this week I felt like, I don't want to scramble to get somebody. I just want to do it myself. I haven't done one of these in a while solo, a long time. So here it is. I really appreciate everybody coming through. It was great having everybody. Of course, all my lovely moderators, and if anybody previously was a moderator and you're wondering why you're not, it's because at some point I decided I don't need like 50 green swords floating around. So I switched it up. Got some key people that regularly moderate and do a good job with it. And other than that, yeah. So, anyway, back to the subject of trying to wrap up the show here. Thank you all very much for coming. Pirate Oil, you are a lucky man, and I'll be sending you that code. Everybody else, good luck next time. We'll probably be continuing the Station Cash giveaways here and in the future. And on that, we're going to be bringing the party over to Psycon. Psycon is a regular in the Landmark community. They are now broadcasting. I haven't seen their broadcasts, so I'm definitely going to tune in and check it out for a little bit. And I hope you folks join me. If you have any other questions, definitely go ahead and ask them there, and I will answer for the next little bit before I go get myself some chicken dinner. That's all. Thank you very much, everybody, and I will see you later. Bye bye.